What is up, Chicken Nuggets? Dr. Tyler Tarver here, and this is Sports Cards Are Dope podcast. Thank you for watching and listening, and or however you're viewing it, reading maybe. I don't know. Probably got a blog by now. We're talking about how full NBA game ratings are down. Everybody's freaking out about that, and they're like, "Oh, we're gonna talk about it every episode, try to get views." We're not above that. We're doing it to get views and listens. Okay, likes and subscribes. But we want to talk about something called shadow viewership. Why that's skyrocketing, why NBA is more popular now than it's ever been, even though the full game viewership is down, and then how that impacts the sports card market, because sports cards are dope, not just sports are dope, and that's how we do this. So hit him with that intro music. All right, Chicken Nuggets. So, sorry, I get very emotional when I talk about this. All right, so you've landed here on the Sports Cards Are Dope podcast. And this is a podcast where sports cards meets sports, meets trading cards sometimes, meets pop culture, meets whatever I need to talk about and or you tell me to talk about, okay? So today we're talking about why fewer people are watching and sitting down and watching a full 2-3 hour game of basketball, and yet whenever Ja Morant drops 40, everybody knows. When Steph Curry does a behind-the-back running floater at the buzzer, we all know about it. We know of these moments, but not as big a population was sitting down watching that full game like they were every MJ game in the 90s. And so we're going to deep dive into it, what that looks like for sports fandom, and then what it could look like for us as people that collect and or sell sports cards, hopefully both. So first question I have that I want to answer is, who has time for full games anymore? Okay, like I listen to several podcasts, listen to Bill Simmons, Ryan Russillo, listen to Mismatch, Chris Vernon. What's up, Verno? How you living? I don't know him. Act like I know him. I don't know him in real life. See him at the Grizzlies games. I got half season tickets. Don't like to brag, but I do like to tell the truth. And so I listen to these guys, and they talk a lot about, the games. They talk about all the stuff happening. I'm getting breakdowns. I listen to many more hours. I'd say 10 plus more hours of podcast, probably more than that, 10 to 20 more hours of podcasts than I do watch full games. Now, I do watch some full games because I go to the games now, but if my kids get bored, they want to bounce early. But why are people not sitting down and watching full games? Well, one of my thoughts are, why aren't people sitting down and just reading books? Audiobook stuff is up. It's because when you listen to something, you can do two things at once. I listen to a ton of audiobooks. I shoot for 50 books a year. Don't like to brag, but I like to tell the truth. That's my favorite saying. I've said it twice the first 5 minutes. But I still listen to like 50 plus books. I don't sit down and read maybe one book a year. It's because when I'm listening, I can do other things. I can drive, I can work in the yard, I can hang out, I can work out. I can do two things at once. When I'm watching a basketball game, I'm watching a basketball game. Yeah, YouTube TV makes it easy. We're sponsored by YouTube TV, by the way. That's not true at all. But if they want to send a check, P.O. Box 41, Boxhead, Arkansas, 72011. But you got 4 screens, so you can do essentially 4 games at once and be on your phone. But at that time, usually I'm hanging out with my kids, my wife, trying to talk to them, build relationships with my family. I'm just kidding. But I'm also like posting on social media because I make a lot of content and I'm trying to post it. So I've got other things I'm doing at that time. I don't have time to sit down and just watch a full game. Sure, it's beautiful to watch a full game, but a TikTok for 30 seconds is like Spark Notes with education, and I'm good. I'm caught up. I can watch a 9-minute YouTube video and see every main highlight from the game. The fact that YouTube TV, if I start the game at halftime, I can go through key plays. That feature never works the way it's supposed to, which I can say because I'm not actually sponsored by YouTube TV. It never actually works the way I want. It just starts and I'm sitting there watching like the announcers get started. So I don't actually clip, but whenever it does work, I'm clipping through key plays to catch up to the game. It's like Spark Notes, Cliff Notes. It's all the things that, students now are doing to do school, because education's my main thing. And so students, what they're doing, if they're not just straight up cheating using ChatGPT, what they're doing is they are going in, they're dropping whatever they're supposed to read into ChatGPT and asking it to tell them the key points, the main theme, anything they need to know. They're trying to summarize. They're trying to save time, because in life, everything that we do has time with it. And our time is valuable now because we have options. The reason everybody watched full Jordan games in the 90s, yeah, Jordan was great, but also there was like 7 TV channels. So it was like you had to watch that or Cartoon Network. So it's like, yeah, I'm going to go in and watch basketball. I'm also going to catch up on my what is it? Space Ghost Coast to Coast. Anybody remember that? Gosh, that was a good one. All right. So it's like, if you're able to watch the TikToks or the YouTube recaps, it's like at Disney World, you're going using a fast pass versus sitting there, and younger audiences want that. The NBA is much more popular with the younger audiences. How many old dudes, my dad, I love my dad, but he don't watch NBA, he likes college. And I'm just like, hey, do you want to go to a Grizzlies game? He's like, I wouldn't go to a Grizzlies game if it was in the backyard. And I'm like, well, first off, if I invite you, you'll go because you're a nice guy. But also, he has no interest in NBA. He'll listen to me talk about it, but he doesn't watch it or keep up with it. The young people are into it because they can sit down and stick with it, okay? And a lot of people are talking about fix the NBA by going shorter games. Yeah, that would, I think, solve some of it. You might get more investment. But honestly, it's really just for the players to stay healthy because, again, nobody wants to watch it if their favorite player is not out unless they're just dedicated to that team. The younger fans, they want that instant access. They want no commercials, no, oh, we're going to sit here for 2.5 minutes and analyze this to see if it's a flagrant one. You know, they're just sitting there and watching the highlights. How many of y'all have gone on TikTok and you see where it starts off, raise your ya, ya, ya. And then by the second one, it's going to go in. It's like Jared McCain highlights. It's going to be LeBron James highlights. And it's like awesome music. It's dope. It's a dope way to watch it. That's how I watch a lot of it. So whenever Netflix, they dropped on Netflix has it, Max has it. When you're watching a TV show you love, it has a skip the intro button. We are so impatient now as a society. They built a hack so I don't even have to watch a 30-second intro. Like, I don't know who these people's real names are because that's Dwight Schrute to me. I'm sorry, Rainn Wilson, okay? We skip through these things because TikTok and watching that to get a full recap of a game, that is our skip intro button for sports now, okay? So in the comments, I would love to know. If you're watching Spotify, I think there's a comment section there. If you're watching YouTube there. If not, just hit me up. What is the last full game you actually sat through? And be honest, did you skip halftime? Were you on your phone at all during the game? I doubt it had your full attention, okay? Now, that's full games. That's what's happening there. Let's talk segment 2, as I like to call it, because that's how you label the next segment in something. Shadow viewership. I think Bill Simmons coined this term. If not, I did. I made it up all on my own. Shadow viewership, the rise of NBA cliff notes, okay? So I want your thoughts. Are highlight reels the new way to watch and consume NBA? Like, can I go in and watch a highlight reel of Curry doing his behind-the-back floater and hitting a half-court shot and doing all the stuff he's done over the past month and summarize it in 1 to 2 minute video and still like appreciate Steph Curry's greatness? TikTok, YouTube, Instagram Reels, they are like the drive-through for NBA fans. It's quick, satisfying, you get what you need, and you bounce, okay? I'm not sitting down and having a conversation with a waiter, okay? And then sitting there as they turn the thing around and go, it's just got one more question for you, all right? No waiting. I go in, bam, watch it. That's a sit-down dinner, okay? I don't want to go and refill my drink. I want to grab, go, and drive to the next thing, okay? These shadow viewers are like these, I already used it, these kids using ChatGPT to summarize everything. It's like, why would they go in their mind? I'm not saying they shouldn't read it. I'm just telling you where we are. These kids are going in, and instead of reading 100-page of The Great Gatsby, they're going to go to ChatGPT and say, hey, summarize The Great Gatsby. Give me all the key points, main characters, themes, everything. Break it down for me in 1 or 2 pages. They just got 2 hours of their life back. Now, again, as an educator, I want them to read The Great Gatsby. But even after they're done reading it, I want them to follow up with that because I think it can help reinforce it. Me, I have a terrible, have you ever like read 2 or 3 pages of a book and you sit there and go, I have no clue. I couldn't tell you 2 things I just read from the past 3 to 4 pages. That happens to all of us, okay? They want the knowledge without the grind, okay? Which, you gotta fall in love with the grind. That's what they tell me on, all these documentaries. Why would some of these young people watch 48 minutes? Well, it's just like 2 hours with all the commercial breaks and halftime and all that. 2 hours of a game when they can watch a 1-minute LeBron buzzer beater, or they can summarize it in 9 minutes on YouTube. The NBA's social media highlights rake in billions of views. And that's not even the spinoffs, Bleacher Report, House of Highlights, all these other social, they're up. The NBA is doing amazing on social media. That's where people are consuming it because it is something, it is, I think, as far as sports go, it's one of the best sports to consume highlights for. I mean, I have a heart, so I would never bypass a Derrick Rose highlight thing, like a highlight reel. I would never bypass that. And there's certain players we do, watch Dirk doing a fadeaway. We're gonna watch those, and that's living on in that medium. Whereas nobody's going to their TV to watch Dirk highlights. They're going to YouTube. They're going to TikTok. Okay. So, in your opinion, how many of you follow the NBA games exclusively through Instagram, TikTok, or podcasts? Okay. I'll be the first to admit, because this is a safe space. I want to create a safe space here. I am one of those people. I am a shadow viewer. Okay. So that brings me, we talked about full games. We talked about shadow viewership. Let's talk about the last thing and how we tie it into the title of the show. What does this mean for sports cards? Okay. If fans prefer highlights, how does that shift card collecting? This is all conjecture, it's all opinion, not a pump and dump, because I don't have any of these to my knowledge. Actually, I do. I have where is it? I think I have it right here. Oh, I can't get it out. It's in this case. You can't see it there anyway. The Steph Curry Night Night by Tyson Beck. That Night Night was a moment, and I want to capture it. I don't know when this is going live, but Tyson Beck has an on-card Steph Curry Night Night auto luminary going live end of this week. It's Thursday. I want to get it because I want another Night Night card because that is a moment. Jordan crying on the ground after winning the championship. Kobe sitting there with his trophy. Like, I don't know why I just named three where they're sitting with the trophy. LeBron, the Prism card where he's doing the Kobe dunk. That's iconic because it's a moment that means something. The reason we love these little quadrilaterals of these players, yes, it's the player, but that player represents that career, the highlights that they've done, all the things they've done in their career. It's like an NFT that actually means something. It's like physical and it's cool and it's something that younger collectors might gravitate to because of the story. One of my favorite Ja Morant cards, it's a rookie card of his. It's when he tried to dunk over Kevin Love. He missed the dunk, but it's still one of the dopest. I think it's a Chronicles, Luminance, something like that. I think it's Luminance. He tried to dunk over Kevin Love. It is one of the dopest photos, and every kid knows it because it's an awesome highlight reel, even if he missed the dunk. And that card, it means more to me than just like a random card, which would mean more to me than just a picture of Ja Morant, which, means more than maybe that whole game because I want that moment. And that's what I'm going to remember. I'm not going to remember every play of that game. I'm not LeBron James or Joe Mazzulla when they're doing the press conference. I'm not going to recite play by play what happened. I love those moments. And I think that's where we really fall in love as card collectors is with that story. Okay. If we fall in love with the story. Okay. So in conclusion, what does this mean for us as collectors? Me personally, from my own trends, looking at me and how I collect, I like to collect moments. Okay, yes, a card is cool, and if that card takes off, like the Zion rookie prism, it's just like him dunking. He's probably in the studio, I think probably a real dunk. But that card, now you can get, I think, a PSA 10 for $30-$40. It was selling for over $800 at a time. Okay, now there's over 30,000 PSA 10s of it. But like that card, I have one of those in my PC because that is a moment, not just in, like Zion Williamson's career, which, he's great when he plays, but he's injured a lot. And I'm not going to put anything on it. Like, you're injured, you can't play. I get that. Most players, unless you're Jared Vanderbilt. And so whenever I look at that card, it reminds me of a moment in the hobby when when I first got into it, the hype was there. It was Ja Morant, Zion. Like it helped boost this whole industry that I love being a part of now. And so I think that for me is a moment in the sports card world, whereas the Night Night's a moment in Steph Curry's career, my favorite player of all time. Whereas like different moments, the Kobe LeBron dunk, like Kobe passing away, LeBron going to the Lakers, winning a championship. Like there's so many stories in this. And I think that the more that we start collecting based on the moments, I think you're going to see an influx of that because that's what people are watching. These shadow viewers, these young kids who are watching highlight reels, they want those moments. And I'm not always talking about like Panini Instant. Yeah, those can be dope. But I'm talking about like a combination of the card, like the card meaning something and the moment meaning something. That's where we're going to see a top tier of all these things. So like Lil LeBron Kaboom, where he's got his arms out after he broke Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's all-time scoring record. That's a moment. And I think that you're going to see more and more of those moment cards popping off in the future. So those are my thoughts. I would love your thoughts. Go to the YouTube. Give me your thoughts in the comments. If you're on Spotify, I think there's a comment section there. Or rate it 5 stars on podcasts. And then put what you think about these things as you rate it 5 stars. And if you don't want to rate it 5 stars, that's fine. You're entitled to your own opinion. But please don't rate it, because 5 stars is so much nicer sounding. It has a better ring to it. When you think? When you say? When you think that? Sorry, I tried to quote. I think you should leave there at the end, but I ruined it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed even a little bit of this. If you did, look at us. Who would have thought? Not me. Thank you guys so much for watching. Stay good, stay sweet, and never stop collecting. See you guys later.